out there, and welcome to all the digital makers. It's Wednesday, and so that means it's time for another episode of Digital Making at Home. If you haven't already, say hey in the chat and let us know where in the world you are. I am Mr. C, and I'm coming to you live from Cambridge in the UK. Back with us once again is the always brilliant Christina.
Hi, everyone. I'm joining from Nebraska in the USA, and thank you to everyone joining from all over the world for once again another great episode of Digital Making at Home. Great to see you, Mr. C.
And you?
Oh my gosh, we already have so many folks in the chat today. I see John, Devindu, Christian in Georgia. Hello to Sam on YouTube in the UK. Hello, Iowa, USA. Hello, Matt, Florida. Oh my gosh, so many. It's catching up. South Carolina, Portugal. Hello, Joao. Hey, Shane in Finland. Hello, welcome. So excited to have you all with us again. It's lovely to hear from everyone. Today is all about robots, and not just any kind of robots. I'm talking about robots that you can control over the internet. I promise it's all safe. We've got Stan on as our special guest today. He's one of the founders of Surrogate.tv, a really cool online games platform that uses Raspberry Pi in such a neat way. And they're going to give us a live tour of their dream factory. And then together we're going to play on a remote robot game that Mr. C made at his home. I'm going to get to control it. It's a packed show today, right, Mr. C?
Right on. And if you want to play with my game later on when we share the link, head to surrogate.tv and sign up for a free account now. That way you'll be logged in and you'll be able to line up for your turn once we post the link. And for those of you who are with us for the first time this week, welcome. Thank you for coming along. Digital Making at Home is all about helping young people empower themselves and others in the digital age by encouraging them to create with technology. Every Wednesday, we see amazing digital making projects from young people worldwide. We make cool gadgets together and we chat with incredible inventors and makers from all over the globe.
And we love having you all here with us each week making cool stuff. We broadcast every episode live to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Your comments come to us live from those platforms, and we love hearing from you all each week during the show. Feel free to jump in, ask questions, chat with each other, or let us know your opinion.
Absolutely. We get all of your messages and we love having your input. So we get a great question that pops up or we get a really nice comment. We love shouting you out. So please keep on rolling in the comments. It's nice to see Abdul shouting us out. Ali's back again. We've got Larry B. Matt, who couldn't join us today. Matt's in the chat. It's amazing. So many people from all over the place. Can I ask everybody one favor though? If you're watching now, just make sure that you're subscribed to us on YouTube because it really does help out the channel quite a lot. Or just head to rpf.io/sub and you'll get all of our content fresh off the press. The cool part is when you subscribe, then you get the first updates on when we go live with new stuff.
Yes, subscribe, and join this amazing global community. And I mean global, folks. There are countries from all over the world in this chat today. It's incredible. We're a community of digital makers, educators, and explorers coming together to change the world with digital making. Subscribe and join this awesome digital making adventure.
Definitely. Should we bring Stan on now and have a chat with him?
Yes, come on.
Stan, are you there? Hey, Stan.
Hey, everybody. Hey,
thanks for being with us today.
Hello.
Thank you.
Our pleasure. You're a co-founder of Surrogate.tv. Could you tell our audience a little bit about what Surrogate TV is and what it does?
For sure. Surrogate TV is a platform that allows anybody to easily hook robots, drones, RC cars, or whatever else they could possibly imagine to the internet and let anybody in the world remotely control it in near real time. It's like, there's like a robot on Mars that people control like in NASA, but you can do the same yourself, even if you don't know how to code. So it's a pretty awesome new technology, and we're super stoked to have it launched. So there you go.
I love the idea that parallel between it and the Mars lander, like the Mars rover. Sorry, that's really cool. That's how it feels having the one that I've got here, which we'll talk about in a little while. But I mean, the Mars rover is a cool parallel. But how did you and the co-founders of Surrogate TV come up with the initial idea for it?
Sure. So we had maybe a bit of a different idea. We were just chilling with our friends, right? With my ex-colleagues, now co-founders, and we were thinking of, hey, wouldn't it be cool if you could shoot a paintball gun over the internet? Like you could you could just go from anywhere in the world and shoot a real life paintball gun remotely. So that was our initial idea. But then we were working on it because we thought it's pretty cool. And we realized there is so much potential with something like this. Imagine that anybody could just take whatever device they have at home and just make it remotely controllable. And that's kind of how we started. We started with just making like the most simple paintball gun idea. We realized that latency is a very important thing, even with a set up like this. So we started digging in, how can we make the latency as low as possible, but also for everybody to be able to use it. And that's how we started this whole journey. So yeah, now we're making a whole platform for anybody.
So cool. I love that. And I have to ask, well, first we have Omar, who's 7 years old and says, I like to play with Raspberry Pi and I'd love to learn how to make. So Omar, we're so glad you're here. And Omar, mentioning Raspberry Pi, all of this is powered on Raspberry Pis, right? Stan, why did you choose the Raspberry Pi? How are they used?
That's right. Basically, our SDK, which enables all of it, is running on a Raspberry Pi. It's built for running on a Raspberry Pi. The reason we use Raspberry Pi is it's the most used and available, in our opinion, development board, educational board out there. It's great. It's affordable. It works very reliably. There's a great community that not only supports the hardware itself, so it works really nicely, but also there's so many projects based on the Raspberry Pi, like robots, drones, and so much more. So Raspberry Pi for us is like an amazing choice, but also it has the hardware capacity to enable a lot of these things. It has hardware encoding chip for video, so we can send low latency video streaming. It has enough power to even have image recognition and advanced features like that. So for us, Raspberry Pi was a go-to hardware piece that we wanted to use with our platform. Our SDK runs out of the box with Raspberry Pi 3 and 4. You just have to install the image on your SD card. But also, if you want to have multiple robots, you can, for example, install our Python SDK, which is open source, on the Raspberry Pi Zero and control multiple robots. So there you go.
Super cool. Very, very cool. I mean, and that was exactly the process that I followed. I found it quite straightforward to do it, and we'll talk to the people about it a little bit later, how you do that with the SDK and things like that. I mean, the platform that you built at your end to make it so plug and play at my end must take quite a lot of engineering and thought. And how did you first get into computers to come up with this platform?
Well, I think my journey is maybe not like fully related. I myself got excited about computers ever since I was a kid. I mean, my grandfather, he was like not one of the first, but he was one of the first, let's say, software developers back in the Soviet Union. He went it was one of the first universities where they had computer science. It was like the first year, and he started studying software development. And he taught me, he kind of encouraged me to become a software developer as well, per se. One of the first gifts he gave me as a present, and I was like maybe 1 year old or something, was a keyboard. So that's how I got excited. And ever since, from playing video games to later studying computer science, I was always excited back from since I was just a little kid of coding. So kudos to my grandfather for that.
Yeah, shout out to Grandpa.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yes, go Grandpa. He still actually develops even now. He's in his 70s and he still makes code that people use. So it's pretty mind-blowing.
That's
all right.
Cool.
So cool. All right. Well, I mean, Stan, obviously there's just like such cool stuff behind you, and we told folks we could go on a tour. So can we see all the cool stuff in your office? Oh no, Stan's gone. He was like, yes. Oh, hopefully he'll come back. It was too much excitement.
Too much excitement at their
okay,
end.
well, hopefully
the tech.
we can get Stan to join us. And I'm seeing some questions. We got a question. Can you limit, do you know the answer to this from John, Mr. C? Can you limit access, like have a private channel on Surrogate TV?
So you can have unlisted games, which is what the game that I have now is. So only the people you give the link to have access to that game. And so we'll give you the link to the game in my house. And then after today, I'm going to pull that game apart and change the link and then disable the engine and build a whole new one for myself. So yes, you can do that. That's totally cool. As long as you don't obviously put the link on a live stream that goes out to hundreds of people worldwide.
Zoom in.
Oh, Stan's back. Oh, we're so glad to see you.
Sorry about that. Our camera battery died, but batteries. When you do a lot of robots, you're used to it. Batteries
is the weak point. Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
All right. Well, right before you dropped off, Stan, I'd asked about a tour. Can we still get a tour?
For sure. I'll be super excited to show you guys our office. So here at Surrogate TV, we have, I think, more than 150 Raspberry Pis always running. We have all types of different games. For example, we have this little robot here that we've just drove behind the scenes. But yeah, let's go. So this is our main area of the office. This is where our team works. So where we develop the SDK and the platform for you guys to be able to use it. Our team is like 14 people, and we've been working already 2 years developing this platform, for everybody to be able and use the SDK. But now behind this door, this is where all the fun happens. This is our place where we run all the events, where we have all our games running. So not only you can hook up a lot of stuff on to Surrogate TV, but also here in our office, we test a lot of these different game concepts. For example, last week we had an event where we had a spin the wheel, which is Raspberry Pi powered actually. And basically every time you would queue up in the game, you would press space to decide when to stop the wheel. And then there was a servo that is connected to a Raspberry Pi that would basically drop this little piece of wood. And depending on where it stops, one of our hosts would have to do some random stuff. For example, do a Fortnite dance, like the floss,
Yeah.
or other
Nice
stuff.
work, Stan. Nice work.
Incredible.
And
I love that little wooden actuator too, the dropper block. Very clever. Very simple.
Yeah, we're trying to make it as simple as possible because, most makers out there, they want to have something simple. And we also try to do that in our office. Next up, we got our internet-connected pinball machine. I don't know if anybody's playing it right now. Actually, right now, not. But you can go and play it yourself. But it's powered by a Raspberry Pi. So we have a camera here for which you play and see the play field. And then we have a Raspberry Pi here that basically we have our custom hat, but you can also just use a relay. And it basically presses the different keys, like, for example, actually activate one of the flippers or start the game or shoot the ball and stuff like that. This was one of our early games that we made. Next up, we got our claw machine room. I don't know if any of you guys play claw machines or ever played. Well, we got plenty of them.
I got addicted to your claw machines.
We have too many, maybe. But this is a pretty cool, again, setup. It's running on a Raspberry Pi. And again, Raspberry Pi is connected to a relay. And it basically just simulates joystick presses and pick up the toy. And that's how we're running it. And then we have a cool little solenoid mechanism. Unfortunately, I cannot show it to you. But basically, because we don't want to refill the claw machine every time, what we did is we made a little solenoid. So when somebody wins, the prize automatically gets shot back to the playfield.
Jumps
so
back out.
Yeah, that's really smart.
But now let's go to some of our more advanced games. We're pretty proud. One of them that you're going to see just now after we managed to get to there, it's a bit of a walk. That is probably... We call it like a piece of art because there was so much stuff involved in making that game. It feels like a project of its own.
Oh, those tools.
Also, just shout out Stan for the backwards walking. You're doing great.
Gotta learn quick.
Very dexterous.
So here we have our SumoBot Battle Royale Arena. So it's like a game of Fortnite or PUBG or Warzone, if any of you kids play those games. And except it's in real life. We have these 5 robots there, and basically when you're playing this game, you're controlling one of them, and your goal is to survive and be the last one standing on the arena. So the arena is powered by the Raspberry Pi, and basically each of these arena pieces has a bunch of different actuators under it, and it will go down at a certain time of the game. So your goal is to survive while all of these arena pieces are going up and down, and you're trying to survive and be the last one standing. And then we have image recognition cameras there, so we can automatically identify when somebody fallen, and then we can also know when somebody won. And then also these bots automatically reset after each game, so they go to their starting positions.
Is that the QR code on top of the robot? Is that for the image recognition to identify them, or?
Absolutely, that's an Aruko marker. So Aruko marker is probably I'd say one of the easiest ways, especially if you want to have image recognition in real life, to identify an object and what is happening with it. For example, we use an Aruko marker to know the position of the robot. So when we drive to the starting position, we can drive it very easily because we know where it's forward and back. And secondly, we can also know their position on the map, kind of. So we know if they lost the game or they're still alive. So there you go. Then let's actually show our racetrack. That one, unfortunately, doesn't use a Raspberry Pi just because the cards are so small. And when we made this game, the Raspberry Pi Pico wasn't out yet. Yeah, we made this one 2 years ago. But this is a tiny RC car game. They're like 1/40 free scale RC cars. and you drive them. There's a top-down camera, so you see the whole track when you drive around. And yeah, you just race 6 different cars, and you try to be the last. Like you try to pass 4 laps the fastest you can, which is another cool game.
That is so
Right.
cool.
Mr. C, we're playing that one after.
That's amazing. Yeah, that one's amazing. And I love the little grandstand with the tiny people in it and everything. Oh, so good.
Oh my gosh.
So-
Where are we now?
That's
This is our Mario Nintendo world. So
Oh, wow.
So last year, end of last year, we made another template on our platform for anybody to be able to easily hook up a Nintendo Switch to Surrogate.tv. So basically here we have a Nintendo Switch, a Raspberry Pi, and a Trinket M0, and we're basically allowing you to control this Nintendo Switch remotely. So you might ask, if it's a virtual game, like Nintendo Switch has virtual games, why would you have a real life racetrack? Well, the catch is they actually released a new game back in November last year, which is called Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, and you are able to actually drive these little Mario Karts, through a Nintendo Switch. What we did is we took that, connected to a Raspberry Pi, and now anybody online can queue up, go to our game, and race against 3 other people over the internet on this huge racetrack.
Incredible.
Amazing.
Oh,
And yeah,
so cool.
if you want to do it yourself, you can just check out our template. It takes maybe 30 minutes to set up everything, as long as you have all the hardware, and you can drive your own Mario Kart. But there's one more thing which I wanted to show you guys, which is, it's not a game, but I think we're very proud of it. So the cool part about this whole racetrack is that it runs, thanks to the Raspberry Pi there, it can run autonomously. So we don't want to be in the office at night, for example, where a lot of our American players play. So we have some members of our community hosting this track remotely. So nobody's in the office, but they can. The biggest issue with all the robots is that the batteries run out eventually. Like if you drive a robot for an hour, right, eventually your battery will start getting low.
Right.
So what we did is this kind of maybe like futuristic Tesla-style race charging station, using a Raspberry Pi. So we have 2 sets of little charging stations with 4 different Mario Karts. And then basically what you do as a remote host, you park all of them. Then we have these little servos connected to the Raspberry Pi. And what you can do is you can connect a magnetic charging cable, and then you can activate the second servo to turn on the car. And then what happens is that, you can put one set to charge, have another one out to drive around, and then you can have an endless session for how long you want of these Mario Karts driving, over the internet. So we have no issues of that. Usually battery is a big problem with robots, so we figured out this is an easy way to solve that. And yeah, we have a Raspberry Pi. We have a Raspberry Pi controlling all of these servos at the same time, just a single Raspberry. And we have this camera, so people who do this remote hosting can easily see what they're doing and which actuators they're activating.
That pit stop is amazing.
It's so cute to me.
Yeah, it's just the best.
Cute.
Everything about it is just amazing. Yeah.
It's been so much fun, Stan. This is absolutely incredible. And and also shout out to your camera team, like whoever's behind
the camera, man.
Yeah.
Awesome work, friend. This has been such a fun time.
I think that's our office. You can check out the SDK on our website or on dogs.surrogate.tv. We have a lot of content explaining you how you can do it yourself. The initial setup takes maybe 20 minutes, and then you can hook up either your own robot, like they will show you afterwards on this live stream, or you can use one of our templates. If you don't even know how to code, you can still hook up things like RC cars, robots, consoles, and so much more. And we have new templates coming every month, so make sure to check that out.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Stan. And like Stan said, stay tuned, stay with us, because we're going to be playing with a robot next. Thank you so much, Stan. And we really appreciate you and your team at Surrogate TV. See you later. Bye.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Oh.
How cool is that? That was so neat. Such a cool platform, Surrogate TV. I love the way you can play in real life, IRL games over the internet. And the Creators Fund is such a way it's such a fun way to get involved. It's such a neat experience. I absolutely love it. Speaking of, let's have a look at the game you made, Mr. C. You connected up to a Pi and the Surrogate Network, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So do you remember that little Pico buggy that we made a couple of weeks back?
Yes.
Right, so I took the Pico and I pulled it out and replaced that with a Pi 4 and then hooked that up to the surrogate network to make a little camera bot that you can drive around.
Amazing. Now you're going to explain to us how you did that.
Yeah, so I mean, well, let's have a look at the surrogate platform, and I'll sort of talk to you about what happens with it and how easy it is to get involved. So this is the dashboard for the game that I've created, and you can see I can start a little preview here, and it will show me currently what my buggy is looking at, and we'll show you that in a minute. Christina will drive the buggy and stuff. But to get going, it's very, very easy. So you need just a 16 gigabyte SD card. You don't really need a lot at all. And you should probably install the Raspberry Pi Imager software as well before you get going, because then that's really quickly and easy. You just download the image from the surrogate's website. You double click on it once you have the Raspberry Pi Imager, and it will open in the Imager with everything set up. As long as your SD card is plugged into your imaging port, you just click go, and it copies the image to your SD. It's so easy. Yeah. And then you stick that SD.
Real quick, let me say, Mr. C, for folks at home, you can always pause. Like, you can always pause the stream or rewind if you want to make your own project. So in case you're like, oh, wait, what's going on? Don't worry. You can always pause, and you can always go to our channel and rewatch this stream again. Keep going.
Yeah, and I'm very excited about the bug, as you can probably tell. So I'm going to like try and slow down and take a breath. But so yeah, it's very easy to work with. You put the image on the SD, plug the SD into your Raspberry Pi 4, and then you can connect to it as a hotspot. So it turns itself on. When you power up the Pi, it turns itself on as a Wi-Fi hotspot. And all of these instructions are sequential, laid out on the Surrogate TV website. You just follow them step by step. It literally took me 15, 20 minutes tops, exactly like Stan said. And then once it's going, you connect it to the internet. So you connect to it as a hotspot, like it's your Wi-Fi router. You connect straight to the Surrogate hotspot, and then you give it a code from the Surrogate TV so it can connect to their server, and you have a private connection to your machine. So then it can tell that it's a controller on their network, and then you can start building things. And then what we did is, so we've got some code here for you, which is the buggy starter code. So you can get that code. We've got a little short link for you. You just have to go to rpf.io/buggy-starter, and all of this code is here. The only bit that is missing to make exactly the same buggy as I have behind me now is this little bit in the middle. We just need to put in the robot directions. We need to tell the robot what we want it to do when we push the keys. And so WASD are the default keys on Surrogate, just like when most of our gamers who are watching will know WASD keyboard controls, and they're the ones by default. So when we go to our code, and I have that here, set up in my coding window here, I just want to go down to the part here for my handle coordinates and to set the robot coordinates here. And they're really straightforward. So when we work with controls, it's like a joystick, yeah? So what are the two axes you have on your game joystick?
Oh, X and Y. And I also just put in the link for folks. So you have the link for the starting code. Go ahead, Mr. C.
Thank you. Awesome. And then, so we've got these joystick, like they're coordinates, yeah? So we have X and Y, and they're absolute. They're digital because we're using a key press. So it can only be 1 or it can be 0. Either you're pushing forward on the joystick or you're not. And so we're going to set those up now. So in my code here, underneath my robot directions, I need something for Y1 and Y-1, which will be forward and back. I need something for X-1 and X1, which will be left and right. And then I need one if it's nothing. If no one's touching any keys, the robot shouldn't be going anywhere. So I want you to stop doing everything that you're doing and just hold up. So we're going to write that code in now. And it's just a bunch of if and else if statements. So you can say if Y equals 1.
Hey, Mr. C, could you zoom in a little bit just so folks can see it? And Gobal had a question about the code. So Gobal, I shared the link, and Mr. C is going through it right now.
How's that?
That's looking better to me. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah? Okay, cool. So if Y equals, let's be precise, shall we? Yes, we should. So self.robot.for. Can you check me for typos? Because I'm just going to be going. Self.score.
Doing great.
Underscore. Thank you. Okay, cool. So that's what we've got. If Y is 1, then drive forward and tell my scoreboard that I've pushed a button. Because when we're putting it online today, everyone's going to get 10 pushes of the button. That's it. And then the robot's going to kick you off, I'm afraid. Because like you can't be sitting on here. Other people might want to have a turn. And so just a word of warning, 10 presses will go faster than you'd expect. So we've got our Y1 forward. Go forward while I'm holding the key. As soon as I'm not, let go, and then add 1 to my score so that we run out of key presses. And then I want another one. So Christina or anyone in the chat, do you remember if we've got an if and then we want another if something else, do you remember the syntax for that? Does anybody know what we type in if something, something, something? So we've got.
All right, let's see. So in the chat, we might have a delay, so you might have to tell us, but I'm sure folks know.
Okay, so the next one we want is elif. So we're saying if and then elif. So else if y equals, that's not a comma, I want 0.0. Okay, or so I want it to be -1, sorry.
Shout out to Armel on YouTube, came in with the elif. Nice job, Armel.
Nice, very good. Okay, self.robot.backward is the command we give here. Okay, and then we want this bit.
All right, and I'm so excited for when this is ready, Mr. C. I'm like, I've got it pulled up. I'm ready to go.
Oh no, I got a massive typo there. That's no good. There you go. So that's really cool. If you sort it out, if you sort the syntax out, it does all your tabs for you and things as well, which is really nice. So that's sort of helping me out there. So we want self.robot.left.
And I just want to give a shout out to Chafia and Tunisia. Thanks for coming back again. So good to see you. Alex, I saw your idea for the project and I think it's a great idea. That was an awesome suggestion. Oh, hello. Yes. Oh, lots of also we were having so much fun on the tour, but I'm going back into the chat and just seeing so many folks just loved the tour with Stan and just thought all of those projects and games were so super cool. So yes, like agree with all of you. Stan was amazing. It was so cool to see what they have at Surrey.
Their office was so cool, right? Oh, that Mario Kart track, that was so good. I
100% think we need to make one at the office.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, definitely that'll be the first thing we do.
And the dunk tank, like Matt came up with the idea of dunk tank. I'm building that I'm just going to do it. That's such a cool idea. Yes, I will go on and be dunked on the internet for sure. That would be so much fun. Anyway, the code, I've done the code. So you can see here, I've got a Y1 is forward, Y-1 is backward, X-1 is turn left, X1 is turn right, and then 0 is stop doing everything. So once I have this file, I need to copy it across to my Raspberry Pi, and you can do that with SSH. So you just SSH into it. So once you've got it up and running, you can find out what its IP is, connect to it over your network, and then you can just drop files onto it and write files on it and do all those sorts of things, which is what I've done with my one. And so once you've got your file, you have to call it game.py. So if you're using the starter code, you'll see that on GitHub, the gist is titled, I think it's called startergame.py, but you really need to change it to game.py, and then you run that code over the SSH, and then your game is live. So you can see here, I've got my SSH window running here, and my server is still running over the internet. So it's currently running. My game is live, and so we can go to the Surrogate website here. And Christina, have you got it up?
Oh my gosh,
so
yes.
I'll just make sure. So my game is online. I make sure my game is online in the engine. That's very important. And we'll see here that one of one controllers is live. So it's telling me, yes, my Raspberry Pi is connected to the network. I can test to see what it's looking at. Again, I can bring up the preview of my Raspberry Pi and see what it's looking at. And now you should be able to join the game. So if we just get your screen popped up,
okay,
we can see yours.
All right.
Share your screen with me, and we'll get it popped up, and then everyone can see what you're at the player end. So you're at the
right.
Okay, here we go. So you're the current player. You can see it's just jumped into my queue, and I can go to the game on my computer, and we'll see this is what the robot's currently looking at, and I can join the queue to play, and so Christina can also.
Okay, so should I share my screen, or are we going to watch it on your screen?
No, we'll do it on your screen. I'm just talking to people through what I'm looking at. So
okay, cool. Let me go ahead. I'm going to share it. All right. Okay, so we should have mine up now. All right, can you see mine? Oh my gosh, I'm in. This is so exciting. Also, we got a question from Eddie's Tech. How does the Digital Making It Home team find such cool websites and ideas? A, thank you, Eddie's Tech. That's so sweet of you. B, we have a really incredible team. Like, yes, Mr. C and I are brilliant, but we also have a really amazing team behind the scenes that is looking. And we also get folks who email us. We'll tell you to email us at the end, but you can always email us at dmah@raspberrypi.org. And we have such, like, we look for it. And you all, this community is incredible. So
if you know cool stuff, you tell us about cool stuff that you know about. Please email us, mention it to us on Twitter, send us links, all those sorts of things. That's how we dig it all up. But yeah.
All right, let's see. Okay, I'm going to turn.
It's going.
All right, going back up. Okay, all right. I see Groot. Let's see. I know. There's Han Solo. Amazing.
My DM screen.
Yes. Oh my gosh. All right. And you said I have 10 turns, so it's probably going to stop soon. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think you've run. Have you run out of goes?
All right.
Okay.
That was so cool.
So you can see there, everybody, like the robot arena is actually like down here on the floor behind me, where it's driving around just so that it doesn't travel over the house. But yeah, so Christina's driving it from Nebraska over the surrogate.tv website. And anyone, if you want to go on, you can go now, rpf.io/DMAH buggy. If you've got your account signed up, just click down the bottom, the pink button that says join the queue to play. Or play now, and you should be able to sign up and you should be able to have a go and drive the robot around in the background here. So yeah, have a crack at it.
Oh yeah, we've got, I see, the numbers are going up. We've got 6 players in the queue. More people are coming in. Oh, that's so great. Oh, it's moving. That's really cool. If you're playing right now, put in the chat where you're playing from. Once you finish. Oh,
it's doing it.
That's a great, it's like dancing. I absolutely love it.
Very
absolutely
cool.
Love it.
So Punk X Junk is our current player, level 31 player. Wow, someone has been grinding on Surrogate, I tell you. That's so cool.
I mean, it's a great thing during this pandemic.
Someone level 31. Yeah, no, it's so cool. And like, that's the best thing about it is like, if you can come up with a physical game, you can connect it to this. Like you saw those claw machines, they were running off like relays and things. It's just so cool. Like, yeah, very clever, amazing. I've got so many ideas in my head of crazy things I want to make. Like a security buggy is just the first one, right? You could have it do text-to-speech stuff using a P-hat. You could like have a buggy that drives around like saying things in your house or the office. I could make a buggy and I could type text message and it would say them out loud in the office. This is a toy that we're going to make.
Yes. And like, there's so many, like people are getting so creative with this. I know Stan had mentioned to us that they have a community member in Michigan who's like currently building a robot to feed their chickens on a farm, which is such a neat way to play around with it. I love it when folks really like take something and apply it to their living, like to their life, how they're doing. I saw Sam was one of the recent players. I see someone's playing right now.
yeah. Mordecai's on their level 47 player, man. These people, I tell you, some proper gamers here. That's cool. I got addicted to the claw machines, as I was saying to Stan. If you go to the claw machine, you just go to the surrogate.tv website and you have a look at their claw machine games. I was just sitting there trying to pick up balls for like a good 45 minutes the other day. And I was like, what am I doing? I've got to do other stuff. So, yeah, it's really fun.
But it's so much fun. All right. Maybe a couple more minutes, folks. Jump
I'll leave the robot running for a little while. Until the 9-volt battery runs out, guys, you can just play with the robot. I'll leave it in the arena in the evening. That's fine. You guys can just keep tinkering with the robot. It's just going to be up all evening. That's fine. So, yeah, feel free to drive the robot and things like that. It'll be there.
Definitely. Oh my gosh. Well, today has been so much fun, Mr. C. I've had such a blast with folks. Like, especially having Stan. Thank you to Stan. Thank you to everyone right now who's playing with it. Oh my gosh, I love it. That's so much fun. I think I mentioned like it's such a cool thing to play with, right? I feel like it's a virtual hug right now in this time, right? Oh, definitely. I love chatting with Stan. Love seeing this camera bot. Awesome work, Mr. C.
It feels very social. It feels very social having people play a game that's in my house. It's really cool. It's very interesting. Yeah, I love it. It's really great.
Yeah.
But it's a little fiddly, right, to get going with stuff like this. But the documentation is good. And with a bit of patience, you too could make your own Wi-Fi enabled camera robot. We do have the finished code. If you just wanted to take the code and wire it up, you can get rpf.io/buggy-code. And that's the fully working script that has a buggy just like my one. So if you do the SDK part and run the code here, then you can get it going. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and if you're just getting started on your digital making journey and this has inspired you, the Raspberry Pi Foundation is here to support you. Check out our massive library of free maker content at projects.raspberrypi.org to get lots of awesome projects and tutorials. Want to learn how to use a camera module, light up an LED, learn more Python? Check out projects.raspberrypi.org. There are tons of great tutorials there, and they're translated into a bunch of different languages.
Yeah, and it was so great to see loads of people getting involved this week in the chat, people coming to play the game. Shout outs to Sam and John, shout outs to loads of people, Gabal, people who we see coming back every week. It's really great to have you as part of the community. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Stan, for coming on to chat with us today.
That's also the time we have for this week. And until then, we want to see what you're making. Eddie's Tech, you had asked, where do these folks come from? They come from emails. They come from you all. Send us an email at dmah@raspberrypi.org to get in touch with us. And maybe we'll feature your project on the show. Or if you're the type of maker who tweets, you can tweet a picture of your project to us at raspberry_pi.
Yep. And before we leave you one more time, please make sure to subscribe so you'll be the first to know and get updates on all the other good content on our channel as it comes out. Our channel is all about supporting young makers and educators around the world with fresh new stuff every week. So please don't miss out. Sign up. And thank you all for being here for the Raspberry Pi Foundation's Digital Making at Home live stream. We will be back the same time next week with more digital making. Until then, stay safe and healthy. Keep playing with my robot, and we'll see you next time. See you later.
Catch you later,
everybody.
Mr. C.
See you later,
Bye.
Christina.